Greetings. My name is Michael Miller. This is the Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, the core new core, and anyone interested in, I've always said, surviving as a Pilates instructor, but in my notes today, I'm expressing it as thrive instead of survive. So how to thrive as a Pilates instructor. I've got 6 broadcasts today from 0 to 5 because after I started 1, 2, 3, I knew I wanted to start with a comment about reviewing the breathing broadcast. I think that happened on Friday. In any event, the breathing broadcast I recommend, and perhaps erroneously so, but it seemed like I covered a lot, perhaps too much, but there's a lot of what comes from me about breathing in that recording. Number 1, put out your mat. Put out your hat. Put out your hat. Have a way of someone sending you compensation for or acknowledgement of the value that they got out of your post. Right? And I use a PayPal Pay Me link. It's in my feed. So if I say something you like and you want to support what I say, then go to that link and express yourself. Feel the karma. And I only say that again because Kirk James made another spectacular video on the chair. And rather than having it be an advertisement, I would like to see the ability to toss coins into the hat. Because I think that's the future. Number 2 of my 0 to 5 list is all I can do is point. All I can do is point. When I was scuba diving, I saw an eel. It was night, and I wanted someone else desperately to see what I was seeing. That impulse to share. But my buddy was too far away to have it happen, because the moment I was in was too temporary to accomplish someone else witnessing what I was seeing. So on the one hand, I'm acknowledging it seems to me to be a human impulse, and maybe it's just my own, but to share what I value, right? For whatever reason, I do it. And in the sharing, the impulse to share can take you away from what you wish you were observing, and end up taking away the presence that only you are capable of experiencing. I would love it if everyone loved what I had to say and understood the point of view and pursued it and wanted to affiliate and get to know Core New better. All I can do is point. Meaning this is what I came for as far as I can tell, and it's been a consistent broadcast for most of my Pilates career. Right? All I can do is point. Number 3, how to thrive as a Pilates instructor. See, survive maybe carries a negative tone and a threatening tone and something to be afraid of, which I think is a general fear in general, a fear, anticipation of the future. And it's uncomfortable to fan a flame about something you cherish so dearly as being a Pilates instructor, that surely I don't have to worry about surviving as one. And so what just came to my mind, it isn't a title, is the information I read about somewhere or listened to or saw on TV, that in the United States, a large number of people who have retired have very little amount of retirement funds to last them, and their life expectancy is way beyond what they have in the bank to pay for. So, this tsunami of Pilates passion makes me wonder, wow, when all of that pressure comes on, that age group of boomers, and here I would refer you to the instructor at Village Pilates, Len Palombi, is very big into identifying the boomers as an age group, partially because I think he's in that age group, as I am, and my interest, or I have to call him and ask him what he's done about having teacher training for boomers, because I think that's, in terms of a market, isn't going to be teaching boomers how to do Pilates. It's teaching boomers how to teach other boomers Pilates and everybody else along the way. Big market, big wave, a lot of money, and pressure to make it. So, how do you thrive as a Pilates instructor? I don't know. I don't know. Because my whole orientation is Joseph Pilates was a survivor. His method is survival training. And to the extent you actually embrace Pilates on that basis, you're more than likely to survive in the assumption that it has an essence of its own, even if you don't admit it to anybody else. Read between the lines, see behind the curtain. So how you thrive as a Pilates instructor, I don't know. I would hope you thrive as a Pilates instructor by everyone wanting to pay you more to do what you do. And that you know how to add 2 and 2 and control and direct and preserve the income stream you make as a Pilates instructor, because it empowers you to do more of the same. Number 4 is, don't you want your instructor to know about core new tension? Don't you want your instructor to know about core new tension? Okay, and then 5, which is the main, I don't know if I'll talk that long about it, but Pilates and fire. Pilates and fire are such a great, I mean, all right, now, Michael Miller Pilates, right? That brand. MMP believes that Pilates is uniform eccentric loading flowing through progressive patterns of movement. Rewind and memorize. Just so that you at least know what that point of view is. Right? Spirit, in Joe's definition, within MMP, the brand, the view of that, spirit is observing, and your mind is thinking, and your body is being. So Joe's definition within MMP is the complete coordination of being, thinking, and observing. And that those three capacities, and that's the word I really like to describe being, thinking, and observing, are human capacities. The Pilates instructor in MMP aims for the experience of the complete coordination of those three capacities. It's not hard. I mean, it's not complex. It's being aware of being, thinking, and observing as human capacities. And then without all three, you can't coordinate all three. There's a good line for you. Without all three, you can't coordinate all three. And in that regard, without all three, you can't get to the experience that the coordinating all three gives you. Right? So it's the complete coordination of three necessary capacities in the human being to get to the complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit. That was sort of circular, just redundant, I understand that. So, summarizing, within the view of MMP, all three capacities are required. I'm just saying it over again. It takes all three to get to the experience of coordinating all three. If one's missing, then it's not the complete coordination of all three, right? Whether it's being, thinking, or observing. And as humans, we all have varying capacities in those three areas. It's up to the instructor to have fun heading a person toward their autonomous capability of conditioning themselves, pursuing Joe's choreography, knowing the experience that the pursuit is meant to be done in. Completely concentrated on the purpose of the exercise as you do them. Paraphrasing Joe. So, what is fire? That's a good question. Chemical reaction maybe would be one answer. But what is fire and why is it valuable, more importantly? Forget about what it is. Why is it valuable? Heat, self-defense, cooked food, survival, right? And so it's important to keep your torch burning for the purposes of illumination and defense and food and all of that. If you didn't know how to make that happen, you really would not want to let the fire go out. Right? Unless, of course, You had matches and could make fire at will. Pretty powerful, right? And there are too waterproof matches and match containers for matches, and it's a delicate thing to bring that reaction into being, fire. And it requires three things. It requires, let's see if I can remember them here under the gun. It requires heat, fuel, and oxygen. Heat, fuel, and an oxidizing agent, and usually that's considered to be oxygen, and usually that's air. It might be something else, but heat, fuel, and oxygen are the three things. All three things have to be present for fire to happen. Take away one of them and it's not there. And so, within the point of view of MMP, in the belief that there's an experience that you're after, specifically, as you pursue the choreography of Joe's method, it's the choreography and the experience that you're after in doing the choreography, or the way the choreography is meant to be done. That's a good way of saying it. Kirk was a good example of that today, where on the chair, it was intentional. It was deliberate. It wasn't anything extraneous. It was controlled. So, I think it's possible to do great Pilates. Yeah, I can't go off there in that direction. We'll take it as the next section. To the extent that you do have fire, it's obvious, right? And to the extent that you have the experience of complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit as a state of being in the body in the moment of the doing, that experience is like fire. You have to have all three capacities in order to get the experience that is defined. Contrology is complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit. That's supposed to arise someday, or some vague ideal goal about if you're ever good enough, and deemed worthy enough, you'll ever become. Contrology is about right now. From one human to humanity. And in the pursuit of that choreography, you get a uniformly developed body. You get a body you get a human being. More than just the body, you get a human being that has more connection and coordination between those three capacities that Pilates works on coordinating. Being, thinking, and observing. And what will never, I think, come out in headlines in broad publication is this aspect of observation. But it's easy to help a thinker give a little slack to observing if they can at least place the observing happening in the realm of amygdala and hippocampus, meaning within the skull, but not where the primary thinking is going on, where the connection to the senses, right? It's in the observation and the connection to those senses that are requisite to the experience. So, oh, and that's a good tie-in as well. I went to conclude and started looking, and I started with the statement about reviewing the breathing broadcast just recently in this stream of things. And what is breathing? Isn't breathing running the furnace, right? Isn't breathing in its own way a fire? Now, I don't know how technical that is, but just metaphorically speaking, that breathing is you're burning energy, all of you, and breathing is part of that. And within MMP, that points to Joe's definition as the possibility of an experience in the moment of the doing. And in looking for that experience, you're looking to create fire. Oh, and that picture I have of that's what a Pilates instructor's doing. It's inflaming the fire of their student and empowering them to create fire on their own. And so, to thrive as a Pilates instructor, my hat is out. My hat is out. If I ever say anything of value to you, if you want to feel great karma, support me. See, all I can do is point to that. Is point to the fire. And do you recognize the fire? No, put your hand in it and see if you get a feeling. Don't do that. Don't do that. But of course, when you're all flush and you're coming out of the cave of your experience and surfacing, in Pilates, I believe, to thrive, especially as more and more people look for something new for entertainment and are climbing to higher ground or looking for anything stable. See, Pilates is a big wave. There's a lot of money on it, and there's a lot of surfers trying to catch it. The field is very crowded. Life can't live forever. Read between the lines. See behind the curtain. Add 2 and 2. Direct your thinking. Geist.